Hey all, welcome. Thank you for being part of this. I am Akhila. I'm part of the Young Advisory Board of NHRD. It gives me immense pleasure to kickstart this particular session, a roundtable with young HR leaders. Sivashri, who's also part of the Young Advisory Board, and I, along with the guidance of Mitch and Nikki, have put together this. Nikita, who's they're part of NHRD Executive Committee. We've put together this particular session. We hope that this is going to be an enriching conversation with the leaders that we have today. It's about their journey, how did they go about building their brand, and how did they get to where they are currently. Moderating this session, we have Mitch, who's also an influencer herself. She runs her own social media agency and has been part of NHRD, an active volunteer, and now part of the executive committee. So I hand it over to Mitch. We hope you have a great session.
Thank you, Akhila. Good evening, everyone. And really excited to be here. And this is our first session that we are doing live with young HR leaders. Uh, NHRD is something that is very close to heart and been a part of it last 8-10 years, I guess now. Uh, and a lot of different events and initiatives that we do at NHRD. From NHRD Bangalore chapter, if I have to say, we are about over 2,500 members, uh, 30 chapters in the country, and I think about close to over 13,000 members in the country. NHRD Bangalore chapter specifically has a lot of initiatives for our members that we do. Monthly meet, which happens last Thursday of every month. HR Showcase, which is our signature event, which happens every year. And this year, hopefully, on a virtual platform that we are exploring, and probably we will hear and know more about it soon. Plus, we do a lot of events for, Confluence, which is a part of the academia for students and faculty that we do. Lot of live chat, Twitter, live webinars, etc. that we'll be doing it. But since the time March, the situation in the country is we have done all our events virtual, and we've only seen a great impact and a growth in terms of the programs and the viewers that we've had. We just had a monthly meet last Thursday, and we had over 200 people attend it. Different topics that we look at it. So, to know more about us, follow us on social media and log on to nhdbangalore.com, and you will know more about the events, upcoming events. We have 2 learning programs that are coming up on storytelling and IR certification. We have one more live, which is happening on 10th of August, which is on a fireside chat with Naga Siddharth on his book launch, book that he's written. So that's all about NHRD and different programs that we do and things like on to that. Coming to today's session, first session that we're doing live with 3 exciting young HR leaders, my friends, I would also say that. How do I start about it? I mean, I know all of them, well now, connected virtually, met a lot of times. We always say that, don't judge a book by its cover, So I always remember this sentence when I think about our first guest, which is Praveen Voona. And it's just about, I would say, exactly a year back that I met him, when we were looking at interviewing for Young Advisory Board, and happened to meet him. He came there, always in a blazer. I've always seen him in a blazer. And when we interviewed him and looked at it, and we were like, ye banda kaam karega ya nahi karega? He was very clear in terms of the questions that he had and, what is expected out of it or how will he do it and things like that. And we were like, we need someone who thinks, but we also need at the same time who runs around, being a part of Young Advisory Board. But he's definitely proved us wrong and worked extremely well. A lot of projects and events that we've done together. And one of them, the HR Showcase last year. So welcome, Praveen, here.
Thank you.
And you worked on the HR startup phase, for HR Showcase last year, right?
Yeah.
So tell us what was your experience?
I've been always on the other side of the show. For the first time, I was playing the role of the organizer. So it was it was quite a different experience, and we had to do everything from the scratch. And more than anything, I really appreciate the initiative of NHRD of launching the HR showcase. And actually, many companies have come forward, participated. It was a challenging task for us to actually shortlist, the unique proportion they have brought in, and what is the kind of value addition they're bringing into the HR fraternity. So for me, I have thoroughly enjoyed, and I'm in touch with all the startup founders, and I'm having a great learning outside NHRD also with them.
Okay, great. And I also know, Praveen, a little that I know about you, that you love traveling
Yeah,
and probably
without fail.
backpack and head out somewhere.
Yeah.
So first trip that you did without planning.
It was on the May 21st, 2011. It was my birthday. I just went out for a coffee in the evening, and then in the coffee shop, I have decided that with my friends that we go for a trip, and it was quite adventurous because we didn't have any extra clothes, and just we just drove to Uti, and then apparently we reached there at 2 a.m. in the 2 a.m. and we don't know where to stay, um, and finally found a place to stay, and so on and so forth. One very interesting incident what happened is that we spent all the money we had. You can understand, 10 years when I started my career, all I had is a car. We were caught by cops because we stopped in a forest range, and we are trying to click pictures and all. Believe me, we had hardly 350 or 400 rupees. Even that was taken. So from there, we had to come back to Bangalore. So I like such things.
Okay, great. So Praveen is someone who loves to travel, who's adventurous, very clear about what he wants in life. But if you had to describe yourself in one word, what would that be, Praveen?
Okay. I am very sociable person. I like to go along with people, discuss ideas, talk and engage on activities with people. So whatever it might be. So I'm very sociable. All I
Okay,
can do.
great. So when you went for your coffee, did you by chance meet Shweta there?
You mean the Shweta coffee holic?
Yes, the coffeeaholic Shweta.
Yeah. Yes. So I know Shweta again. The connection happened at the NHRD HR showcase. I met Nishchay Suri and Shweta Pathak at the NHRD showcase, and till then we have never been we have never looked back. We have always been engaged, discussing stuff on other channels also. So Shweta, all we know about you is coffee.
Yes.
See, here you go.
Oh, the black coffee. Okay, great. So welcome, Shweta, on to the show.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you, and it's good to be here with all my friends. And I can say that with pride. And one way to introduce myself is I am a friend of NHRD as well. I guess my association with NHRD has been over 6 years now. It started from 2014, and then yeah, I continue to be a active member. I have learned a lot. Being a member of NHRD has helped me in my career, in my own development, and I have made a lot of friends. So, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mitch. Again, I guess the last time all four of
yes,
us met was at
yes, that's
NHRD
true.
Bangalore in
Yeah.
December.
So that's what, in fact, when I was talking to Praveen early today, and I was telling him, what is it for us today? And I said, if I look back, I think I have met all of you in HRD. I mean, obviously, Shweta and I connected long back on social media, but there are a lot of things common between me and Shweta. From social media to recruitment, but and of course NHRD.
NHRD,
We've
yes.
engaged, we've interacted a lot about NHRD. Um,
Yes.
I know you're a coffeeholic, but if I recall when we met Shweta, we met, we bumped into each other at a, chai cafe in Bangalore.
Cafe in Bangalore, yeah. Accidentally bumped.
Bumped
Okay.
into.
And, yeah, yeah. And I guess that was the first meeting. So
Yes.
actually, I was meeting another friend of mine in. I
Yeah.
was meeting Ruchi Chalu,
Yes. Yes.
and over breakfast, and I couldn't believe that I get to meet Mitch because we were in touch, we have been talking to each other, but because of different cities, we never met. So I actually had to excuse myself, and like a small child, I was excited to meet. And I think Mitch, you had a session there.
Yes, I had a sourcing adda session going on there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just barged in, interrupted, and I was like super happy and hugging Mitch. Okay, we finally meet. This is Mitch I have been in touch with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that
So
was our first meeting. Yeah.
yes, that's there. And through you, Shweta, I've met a lot more on through that. Before I go on to our next guest, I want to understand from you what is Shweta or who's Shweta?
One word that best describes me is friend. And I guess my friends can vouch for it. So Shweta is a friend. Yeah, that's the best word that will describe me.
Yes,
Apart from coffeeholic, like Naveen, like Praveen mentioned.
yes, a friend who just needs to catch up with a cup of coffee.
A friend who's always there. Coffee all helps, but yeah, a friend who's always there.
Yeah, great. And as I said, Shweta, because of you, I've met a lot of people, and one of them is again Jonas. I remember you introducing me to Jonas few years back. We got connected on social media, and I think Jonas, about 2 or 3 years back, that I think you moved to Bangalore and you came
Yeah,
in for the first Bangalore meet, NHRD monthly meet. And that's when
that's
we met.
right.
Shweta messaged me, Jonas is in Bangalore and, you should connect with him. I said, I already met him. He came for the NHRD
Yeah.
session. Yeah. So
It
great to
was
have
it was
you, Jonas.
thanks, yeah. There's another word that the best describes Shweta, and that is connector. She is a
Connect.
super connector.
Thank you. So
Yeah.
again, I call him Joe at mostly when I meet Jonas, I call him Joe and not Jonas. So I've known him for quite some time. Again, we connected via Twitter, and then small world. He moved to Mumbai, and I was
Yeah.
super excited. And I remember the first message, in-person message I sent him is "Welcome to Bombay," because I was happy that I have one more friend in Bombay now from Bangalore.
Yeah.
She
And
told me
yeah,
which are the places to actually catch up on. Her favorite place is Starbucks.
Starbucks. So I guess people who have connected with her on Facebook would know that
Yes.
it's the black coffee and the Starbucks. Um,
yes.
Great,
And
Shweta. We could send a link to you.
so when Jonas was moving back to Bangalore from Mumbai, I told him that personally, if you do have time, because now he's closer home, Bangalore is his home. I'm like, now if you have time, you should connect and support NHRD. And the best part was he was more than happy to do that. It was and but we were just having a discussion, and he asked something about NHRD, and it was like both of us said it around the same time that how can he be part of NHRD, and I'm saying you should be part of NHRD. So and again the same thoughts, the same intention of working with the community and for the community.
Yeah,
Thanks,
great.
Shweta. Lovely.
Yeah. So Jonas, how is it being in Bangalore? I know it's closer home to you, but
Yeah, it
Mumbai or
is. Yeah, I love Mumbai. If there was any other option to stay there for a longer time, I would have done it. But Bangalore is home, so you can't beat home.
Come back, Jonas, come back.
Okay, great. So, Jonas, you've had you have worked with different brands, right, and different multiple
Yeah.
hats, multiple roles that you've played. So, tell us a little more about your career journey, how it has been. You with Capgemini, Philips, now Boeing. In Bangalore, different cities. We
Yeah.
would want to hear a
So one
little
of
more of you.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been conscious in my career is whenever I do change, it is either a change in role or a change in industry. So the first job that I had was as a management trainee with Philips. That gave me tremendous exposure to different functions and facets in HR. So if you're a student and you have an opportunity to enter an organization through the management trainee route, that's the best route to get an understanding of what's happening in the organization. Um, by virtue of that, I had to play different roles in learning, in talent acquisition, and finally HR business partnering. I enjoyed HR business partnering, and then I decided, okay, I'll stick around with this for some time in Philips. And interestingly, there was an opportunity that came about because a senior leader left the organization, and I got to head talent acquisition. Now, just imagine a kid, literally, few years old in the organization, in the industry, heading a talent acquisition function. It was scary, and personally for me, that has been the biggest learning moment for me, because you had to deal with difficult stakeholders, you had to deal with much experienced peers, and it was a fabulous experience. Then I had another opportunity to dabble with employer branding. And with employer branding, I really got involved with social media. We had our guru then, which was Gautam Ghosh, and Gautam taught us how to do Twitter, how to do social media in the right way. And then Yash was there to just evangelize the whole HR team. So we had good foundations over there. Then Capgemini happened, and Capgemini essentially told me, "Hey, we'll pay you just to be on social media and do a full-time social media role of social media recruitment as well as employer branding." I said, "Why not? If you're paying me something where it's not work but it's play for me, and I get an opportunity to learn, I'll do that." So I spent a good amount of time, got to interact with people like Shweta, Sarang, all of these wonderful people in Capgemini. And also got to grips with what is sourcing and how do you source people on social media. Then I said, okay, I have to come back to my first love, which is HR business partnering. And Hotstar happened. And you got the opportunity to be in the most exciting startup, I would say, in India. And that was also a fabulous experience. And then you had Boeing with the aircrafts. So I got into this, and as a HR business partner, I also take care of Middle East and Africa in a culture and development role. So it's been a fabulous experience. Different industries, different types of roles over the last 12 years.
Okay. Great to hear that. Thanks, Jonas. Um,
If I may add something in that story, Jonas, if I remember right, I will not disclose the name of the event, but before you joined Capgemini, you did question Sarang who was on stage.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I
I
did.
remember that story. Even before you joined Capgemini and you were working with him, you were the one to put him on spot and ask him a question about sourcing, and Sarang is like, interesting.
Yes, I remember that.
Great. So moving on from there, Shweta, if I look at your career graph, from recruitment to a career consultant to an employer brand and to what it is today with Edcast, how has been your career path? Different.
It's been yes, it's been different for sure, and it has been learning. And I think one thing I will honestly accept about myself, um, that I like doing new things. All right, and after I've tried and worked on certain things for more than 2 years, 2.5 years, I get bored about it, and then I want to try something new. All right, so that's one thing about me. Something which is not on my LinkedIn and never on my resume is I'm an accidental HR. So before HR, I was a financial consultant,
Okay.
and HR happened by chance and not by choice. And I'm super grateful. I'm super happy that I'm part of HR, and that's something which I'm good at, and it happened accidentally, but I enjoyed it. And again, within HR, I tried different things. Right from Jonas mentioned something similar, from sourcing, recruitment, employer branding. Um, Done it all. Different geographies, different levels, different style. Using AI for recruitment 6 years ago, when AI itself was too new. We have heard about video interviews are very common, but say for example, trying something as interesting and new as a video job description. So I tried everything, and then I get bored. I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to do something new. And right now I am at Edcast. I'm learning about learning. I am learning, and I am working around learning and development. Again, leveraging technology. We are an AI powered knowledge cloud solution. And after HR, so I moved from finance to HR and now HR to marketing. And let's see for what I do next in few years.
Yeah. So sometimes life give you different options, and you really take it up onto that, right?
I would say that I'm open to options, number one, but I definitely, I'm well prepared that what would I consider as an option. So before the option reaches me, I have a clear definition on what option would be.
Yeah. I think that having that clarity is very important.
Yes, and to be very honest, I'm fortunate I got that clarity because at the right time of my career, I could connect and I could understand the value of a mentor. So I'm super grateful that throughout my professional career journey, I'm blessed to have some of fabulous mentors who have always mentored me, guided me, have always helped me take the right career decision. And the first mentor I had was my first true HR career was at Marico. So I'm super grateful that I started my career with an organization like Marico, where my foundation of HR or the strong so-called pillars for HR were built, which is why it's so strong. I had the first mentor in Marico, and he continues to be my mentor. Where whenever I have a problem, I go back to him and seek advice. Another thing I have and which has helped me is have role models. So for different role, I have different role models, right? So say for example, if I am working on a project or if I'm doing something about diversity, I will go to Anuranjita. She is like my role model for that, right? So it's not that other mentors are not good. Of course, I have high respect, but for certain roles, for certain challenges, I know that they are my go-to person. They are my role models, and they are my aspiration where I would want to be if I have to do something similar. So that has helped me a lot.
Great to hear that, Shweta. Moving on to you, Praveen. Yours is a little different story. 10 years in the same organization,
Yeah.
right? In today's world, I guess it's a little difficult to see that. I've seen a lot of people moving on. 2-3 years. I'm done with this kind of a role. I need something more. So how's it been with you, being in the same organizations for over 20 years?
Okay. I started actually my career with a premium auto company which makes premium cars. I've been there for 1 year. I again, like Jonas, I've taken my step into management train issues, and it was incredible, no question asked. Um, the best decision and also the toughest decision was for me to take a decision to move from Mercedes to Airbus. That is I had to go through a huge mental torture for 3 days to take a decision on how to go ahead or not, because both are good, going good. When I started my career, the main reason why I started my career with Airbus was the kind of discussion I had. It was never an interview; it was a discussion, and I really liked the job portfolio and everything, and it was definitely better than what I was doing in work. Um, After I took up this role, apparently, one of the statement what one of the HR leader who have interviewed me have made said, at Airbus we hire for lifetime. Now I understand what it means. So, um, and in this the first 3 years I joined Airbus when the strength was somewhere around 97, and today we are around 1067 kind of thing. And for the first 3-4 years I was doing the very core recruitment. I was managing recruitment for all the divisions and everything, so on and so forth. Apparently that is something which bothered me because I always wanted to get into the core HR also. And slowly there are some new things which have come into me which have actually took a U-turn, and which really excited my job was the employment marketing piece. And this employment marketing piece is not only something which is close to my heart because it involves a lot of branding and stuff, but also this is a platform which helped me go international. That is one thing. And after a couple of years, I also have started working on taking up the role of HR digitalization for the country. And I was responsible for implementing all the HR digital tools, say it Workday or whatever, Cornerstone or Pretidius or whatever it is. That was really exciting journey because I was in a team of let's say 70 people, except me. Everyone were from different parts of the world. That was really exciting. Um, then I think 3 years before now, I have taken up a role also as a business partner for a business unit of BU of 100 plus people. So technically, I have all the hats as on today. So I'm really loving it. All I can tell you now, I don't need to tell you why I'm here for so long. So yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Praveen. So, moving on from here, you know, off late, everybody's been talking about personal branding. And I personally feel that since the time the COVID has started, or since the time people are in the lockdown mode, I see a lot of personal branding or people talking about it in this year, 2020. In fact, when I started talking about this few years back, I had people laughing on me. Seriously, you want to do something like this where people will pay you to use LinkedIn?
Mm.
I have people telling me that when I started something on my own. But moving on from there, the things have really changed. How people look at it. It's today. It's no longer, Shweta, Jonas, or only Praveens of the world wants to be active. But everybody wants to be there. Uh, so at times when you're associated with a brand like Airbus, you have a brand by yourself, right? Because you are at an XYZ level at that organization. But not everybody has that opportunity or has got that profile. So what do you think, is the importance of personal branding today?
Right. For me, if you have to take the synonym of a personal branding, for me it is reputation. The moment you call it as reputation and take care of it as your own reputation, it would make sense for you and it will give the true meaning of personal branding. A what I have always done in my last decade of experience is the first thing I just play this small game, and actually now I made it as a habit, is that people who know me, I go to them and ask them, what are those first three words which come into your mind when you talk about me? And I'm a big fan of this something called as feedback. And I don't hesitate to talk to anyone. Maybe I know him by a LinkedIn message or a phone call. I just talk to him or her, asking their feedbacks and so on and so forth. Now what I always used to do is, which I felt as an experiment, which I felt it was important, it was one of the reasons which helped me, is I checked, okay, it's okay, you get positive, you also get some things which are negative comments, but is that what you really wanted to reflect on? If all the words what you have heard about yourself, you're creative, you're this, you're very visionary and all those, so if you're agreeing, you're bang on personal branding, you're doing it in the right way. If you are not, then you have to take a corrective action. That's the first step. And second step is that you have to be very clear on what you would want to brand yourself as. It can be internal or external. That is how I put it in the boxes. Um, and now the third step is that nothing comes for free. You need to act on it. And internally, what I have done is that I have participated and I have taken responsibilities, though they were not part of my department. And there are a lot of other activities which I have done, which help me which I've done voluntarily, which help me to interact with a lot of people at the C-suite, because of which I've created an internal brand. Coming to external, yes, that is also again very important. If you really want to be a purple cow, I'm part of NHRD Young Advisory Board, as mentioned by you in the call. I also actively work with Global Workforce Management (GWFM). I am in connect with the academia, and I share my thoughts and experience with the students in various webinars or sessions, or before COVID, I used to go to the universities. So these are the kind of things. These are the kind of exchanges which helps me, create my personal brand. That's how I have gone through.
Okay, thanks. So, Shweta, whenever I think of you, the only word that comes to my mind is the web Wonder Woman.
Okay.
So
That's been what?
I don't know if that's the word that you would like to reflect, on your brand. But what do you think, or do you think it's important today for each of us to have their own personal brand?
Yes, it is important. It was always important, but more so today. It is very important to have your own brand, a unique one, like my friend mentioned. And it's important to, and one thing I would just add to, what Praveen said is honestly, from my experience, you can't be different individual. So, I would just add that just be honest when you're building your brand. Just identify what is it that you would want the world to know, and ensure that you are the same person. So that's very important, because everyone on social media, digital media, and within our community, they're all very smart enough and intelligent enough to understand that no, this is not the person you are. So it's very important to be authentic, to be honest, and the first step of building your brand is to share. It's always a two-way communication. So it cannot be that I'm the only person who's posting, but you have to engage with the audience. Be a part of the community. Fortunately, in HR, we are blessed, at least in India, to have to have this community which is so strong. Most of us are friends. Most of our HR leaders are happy to help and guide with selflessly. Okay? They don't have any selfish motive behind, but they're always there to guide us, help us. So in a way, we are very grateful, and it's always good to learn. So while building your brand, my suggestion would be to decide what is it that you would want people on the world to know about, and you better be that person.
Okay, thanks. Jonas, what has been your personal brand story? Have you put some strategy behind it, or it just happened with you?
So there has been a lot of thought in terms of my personal brand. So the first step that I had taken, to build my personal brand was first get onto Twitter. Now, once I got onto Twitter, there were a few people that I had in mind that I wanted to follow. Okay, so I made sure that I followed them. Folks like Abhijit Baduri, these are people that are real thought leaders in the space. Then what I did was I wanted to see who they followed, because they don't follow everybody.
True.
So then I followed those people. Now, because I followed these people, I kind of knew what were they talking about. Now, if there was a topic that they were talking about that I wasn't familiar with, then I would go and Google it and see what is this topic that I want, what are they talking about, and how can I increase my knowledge in that particular area. Coincidentally, when me, Shweta, and others had actually come onto Twitter, Twitter chats were a big thing. So we got into engaging in an active, high-paced conversation on Twitter chats.
Yeah.
So in Twitter chats, you can't really think and wonder and do all of that. So you better be prepared. So we used to, I used to block a time in my calendar and prepare for the tweet chat. So by virtue of these conversations with these leaders, and I always say Twitter is a great way to have a conversation, with someone. The boundaries are not there. You can just DM the person or just follow the person and say, hey, I want to have a chat with you. That person might always, any senior leader that you reach out to, they might be at that point of time, they might be a little bit busy if they don't respond in very quickly, but they will surely give you a response if you try. So that has been my story in terms of how do I engage with people. The second thing is your personal brand is not only a function of yourself. Think of a Venn diagram. Okay, you have one circle here, you have another circle here, which is your audience. And somewhere in the middle, because what your audience also shapes or has a perception of you, as Praveen had said, in terms of feedback, and what you want to convey, which Shweta is sharing, both form your personal brand. You know, but one thing that I want you to be very mindful of, and that's something that I have personally seen with a few of my colleagues as well as with myself, is that your followers don't determine your personal value. Okay, that's something that you have to be really conscious of, because if you do take a stand on a particular issue, you might lose those followers, but you should not lose that belief of, there's a reason why I took a particular stand on a particular issue. You might strengthen the existing people that you have in terms of people who have been following you. So that is something that is important in terms of personal brand. And the last but not least thing is, you have to be consistent. It didn't happen overnight. So if you look at my Twitter handle, there is content related to HR. Okay, I don't generally talk about other things because I want to be in that specific area of focus, and that's my niche. So initially it was all about social media recruitment, it was about social sourcing, employer branding, so people knew me by that. Now once I had a platform, then I could branch out and do other things. So that's my personal branding story.
Thanks, Jonas. That's I think a great tip for people to take it on from there in terms of what is that you want your audience to see when they're following you. Uh, so everybody has a different career story, right? I mean, when I'm talking to all three of you, you've had different graphs and challenges and opportunities. Not everybody gets the same kind of options in time. If I look at myself, also there has been a kind of a roller coaster. From hospitality sales to recruitment to now social media and things like that onto that. But some things are planned, some things just happen, and we take it onto that. But one thing I think that keeps me on with is my passion to do it. Something that I believe and I have the passion. So, Shweta, what would be your secret or three secret mantras for success?
Uh, my secret mantras for success has been A, be a lifelong learner. Okay, if you are not learning, you're not living. That's the best. Secondly, believe in yourself and have a passion and love what you do. So as long as you have the passion, you love what you do. Be honest about what you are doing with all your stakeholders, with your team members, with your stakeholders. So be honest in what you're doing. So for me, the success mantras are these three: lifelong learner, believe in yourself, have faith in yourself, and just love what you do.
Okay, great. What would be your secret mantras, Praveen?
Okay. So, like mentioned by Shweta, learning is always my secret. But for me, a little addition is learning from everyone. So I have my own board of directors, which I have hired. They don't know about it, though. My business guru is my father. I've learned a lot from him how to do business, and my HR guru is Suraj Chetri, who is the HR head of Airbus Group India Private Limited. So these are my board of directors. They don't know about it.
Now
So
everybody knows. Praveen.
yeah. So for me, that is the first mantra: learn from everyone possible. Second is that when you are working, think. I mean, I'm talking perspective of this conversation. Think like you're running a startup. You're not an employee of that organization, or you're not a part of a particular activity or project. Think like you're running a startup. End of the discussion. Everything comes into you. Um, and the third thing, which I always want to mention, which comes as an outcome of the first and two, is that you are never too big. So I mean, the first and two will always take you to heights. So you will have to ensure that you stay modest, and you are reachable for help for everyone. So you're never too big. These are the three things I feel like sharing.
Oh, thanks, Praveen. Jonas, what are your secret mantras?
So my secret mantra first is execute before you talk. You know, credibility is built that way in terms of excellence in execution is something that is critical. Whether it's within your organization, within outside, before you start doling out advices to others, credibility, building that credibility is important. This might seem contrary, but say yes to everything and then figure out the rest. A lot of these opportunities that you get, people might have an opinion about you. They might know that you have something in you. Some of these challenges might seem scary. My personal, I can share one example. I talked about taking up the talent acquisition role. In my very first organization, I knew talent acquisition was going to be difficult, but my mentor actually said that you need to step out of your comfort zone and say yes to this opportunity. Because I was very comfortable over there. I was like, okay, this is my place. But I'm so thankful for that particular experience. And similarly, when it comes to other things, you're invited for a conference, and people just say that, okay, why don't you speak about this topic? Say yes to that and figure out what the topic is about later. But that's very, very important. There are opportunities that come in life. You might not realize it. Just say yes and then figure out the rest. And the last thing that I would say is, in terms of my personal mantra, is the whole curiosity element. Be curious. Learn, try and figure out how things are, what you need to do, and success will follow your way. um, One thing I have to say, don't try to be an influencer. Okay, that's the last thing that you have to that should not be a goal. That is an outcome of that entire journey. So those are my three mantras.
Thank you so much. Now, before we kind of move on to the audience questions, there are a few of them that I've seen. Quick one that I would like to know from you, Praveen. Just a 30-second probably answer for you. One thing that you really dislike in your current profession.
Which this is like Karan Johar moment.
It's recording. Okay. Probably.
Coffee is missing. Coffee is with Shweta, not here.
It's live. It's live. It's not recording. It's live.
Yeah.
So,
So probably sometimes apparently you might have to take tough decisions. That is only one thing.
Okay. So, looking at that tough decision, one of your best decisions that you've done in your career.
Like I already told, I've moved to Airbus. That's the toughest and the best decision I've done.
Okay, great. Jonas, one thing or secret that no one knows about you.
Now people know about me, but I love reading manga comics. These are Japanese comics, and my love of reading that comics is such that I try and read it as bedtime stories to my son. So now he's also become a fan of reading manga comics.
Something. And if not, if given one opportunity to change something in your career that you've have had, what would that be?
I wouldn't want to change it. I think all of those experiences are invaluable. There's a lot of learnings that I have got from each of these experiences, so I don't regret any one of them.
Okay, great. Shweta, one thing that you really love in your profession?
connecting with people and serving the people.
I think I know you well. I knew this was coming. And if not for this profession, what else would you be doing?
What I'm doing at the moment, I've moved from HR to marketing, so I guess that's a good transition. And after marketing, perhaps at some point in time in life, I will. I'm thinking to have my own, coffee boutique. So
Nice.
where I will invite my friends for coffee. So
I think we are all.
and it could be in OT. It could be in OT.
Okay, great. So let's look at some of the questions that have come. So I see one on YouTube which Anla says, as a graduate or a fresher, how to make an impact on personal and corporate branding work together. Wow. Anyone who wants to take this? But I
Sure.
guess
So,
as you understand, looking at becoming an influencer should not be the only goal that we should have.
yeah, that will eventually happen. And if I understand right, your personal brand and corporate brand, of how I'm understanding, is corporate brand is very different. Number one, personal brand is like I mentioned, and most, and even Jonas and Praveen, it's about deciding what is it that you want to be. Okay, ensure that you share that, ensure that you connect with like minds, ensure that you have the right leaders and role models. Okay, follow them and share something, share things around the same line, and eventually what you want to do in career will go on changing. It's not that you would like one thing in your career, and you would want to do it for the entire career span. You have to continue coming out of your comfort zone. So, say for example, like Jonas said, you move from PA to a different role. So the kind of stuff you share online, okay, is different. It could be around L&D. From L&D, you move to a different, role or project. You start learning and sharing and connecting with those leaders, those experts, subject matter experts. Eventually, with practice and learning, you would become an expert. I would not use the word influencer, but yeah, you would become that expert.
Okay. Thank you, Shweta. And here we have Sanchya Sandeep again from YouTube. It says, being a final year psychology plus HR student, how does entry level HR professions realistically look like? Without HR experience, there is an uncertainty of what to expect when I apply for my first job. And my biggest query surrounds the question of whether theory learnt in the class can be practically applied to the corporate setting. If not, what steps can I take to equip myself with skills for an HR career?
Okay.
Praveen, would you like to take this?
Yeah. The first thing is, again, I'll take bits and pieces of what we have discussed. Like Jonas mentioned, whatever comes into your way, you have to be open to take it. If there are a couple of things we look at when you're looking to start your career. One is the brand, the company you're working for, and second is the job profile, and the third is how much are we getting paid for it. So when you have a little bit of scarcity of situation, so you don't need to focus on all the three things, not necessarily. So you have to be open to start your career, and in the current situation and the new ways of working, definitely there is a good scope for people with a combination of HR and psychology. Yeah. This is a unique skill. I was myself thinking that I have to do a master's in psychology or so and so forth. And coming to the preparedness to take up a job, if you are taking the initiative to participate in forum, in any other forums, and do some kind of voluntary activity, it will really help you to gear up. And all you have to take is that, take all this knowledge, take up the job. Yes. Another part of the question was that what I studied in the books or classrooms, will it be implicable? Yes, they are all useful, but you have to wear the hat of adaptability. You will have to adapt the situation, use these tools and techniques, and then perform the job.
Mitch, can I just jump in on that? Yeah.
Sure, please.
Just to add to what Praveen had shared, as a fresher, there are these volunteer opportunities, that you can greatly be involved in. I'll give you an example of what I'm currently doing. So I've taken up a new role where I'm responsible for outreach as a deputy, where it's essentially reaching out to the executive population within the company, reaching out to various resource groups, DNI councils, reaching out to the alumni of the company, etc. Now, that was a volunteer opportunity that kind of came my way. I was not an expert in this, but that kind of came my way, and I said, okay, let me try this out and see how this works. The second thing is with youngsters and with people who are just coming into the organization, they are so familiar with video. Now, imagine you take a lesson that is taught in class, okay, say on performance management, and create an Insta reel of performance management, and then share it in the HR community. Now, that is a way that you can practically add value to the whole conversation. So don't limit yourself by just being part of an organization. There are very creative ways. Recently, folks are doing audio tweets, as a way of communicating. So there are numerous ways that you can find opportunities to really add value to the conversation as a HR community. What you are doing in terms of the young leaders advisory board, NHRD, that is an opportunity for you to be part of that conversation, interact with leaders. So there are numerous opportunities that come your way as a fresher to build your personal brand.
Thank you. And moving on to there, I think there was one question by Abhay, which was in lines of this, which is say, what are the building blocks of the personal branding?
So we did cover this, in this. So do you want me to share it again, or how do you want it?
Else that you have, I know we spoke about this,
Okay.
but
So can I go ahead?
sure, please.
Or Shweta, no more please. Okay, so it's a function of you and the audience, and the voice in the middle is your personal brand. Start with a niche because there's a lot of clutter out there in terms of content, and build on that particular niche so you get known for a particular thing. Take a stand when it matters. It will just strengthen your followers, although in the short term you will lose followers, but it will strengthen the existing core of people that you have. Engage in the conversation with different leaders in the HR fraternity, and that will also help you not just in terms of your career but also personally.
Yes, and one thing which I guess we have missed, and I would like to add, is try avoiding trolls and tried, getting into a conversation where you are not very convinced and just, get into a conversation for the sake of it. So, so long as you are strong about your thoughts in that particular subject, please do share. And it's, I mean, there have been times when I have had a thought I have shared, and then, after exchanging few tweets, I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I was looking at it from a different angle, and this is also a way to look at things. But definitely, please stay away from trolls. Ignore them. One thing about being active on social media as an influencer or as an expert is most often you get told, right? So don't let that impact you. Don't let that affect you. Just ignore and move on, because there will be a lot of noise. And like Jonas said, it's just a matter of filtering out of what is relevant, what matters to me, what is it, and where is it that I would want to invest my time and effort, and ignore the rest.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Shweta. Yeah, I think just about time to close. It's been an hour of us having this conversation. At times we just don't realize how the time flies, when we are involved in discussions like this. But I'm sure, I've really enjoyed the conversation that we had. A little that I've got to know more of each of you, uh, you know. But before we kind of sign off onto this, what is that one thing that you would like to, tell today's youngsters who are looking to, build their journey or on their career journey?
Okay, maybe I can start. So one thing what I have learned, which I would want to share, is especially for the HR fraternity, is that generally we are very comfortable in the activities what we are doing in the area what we are doing. So we need a break from what we are kind of doing. So we are in the HR because we have the knowledge of HR. So what makes you different and what makes you progress is that you will have to focus on understanding the business, so which is missing and which business is asking. So if you're talking to leadership, your colleagues in the board meeting, then talk to them in the people language. But if you are talking to people, then talk to them in the business language. So it's very imperative to learn business, and then if possible take a break from the HR, take another role, go into sales or whatever it is, come back after that. There are organizations which support these kind of things, and probably, apparently target yourself to take up and lead a kind of entity or a subsidiary, and probably eventually after many years try prepare yourself to get into general management kind of thing, maybe become a CEO.
Lovely. Uh, one word of caution we already heard from you, Shweta, but what would be the one learning for them that they can pick it up from you?
Well, many learning. Life is all about learning and experiences. So my only 2 cents of suggestion would be to be a lifelong learner and never let success hit your head and failure affect your heart. That's it. I mean, it's you always learn something from those experiences. Even if things don't work out as planned, there's always learning.
Thank you. And what would that be the final wordings from you, Jonas?
I would say, in the context of what we are sharing, the goal is to create value at the end of the day. And if you are able to provide that value in a meaningful manner and consistently, to whoever it is, whether it's your internal stakeholders or whether it is people, out there in digital platforms, that is a way that you can create a niche for yourself. And the thing with value is that it doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to understand your worth. So that is very, very important. You get really caught up in this hype that, oh, I have 100 followers or I have 200 followers, and suddenly if I have 10 followers, that should not decrease your ability or your worth. So that's something that I want to leave people with.
Thank you so much. That's a, I would say, a great learning for everyone before we end our show. Thanks once again, Jonas, Praveen, and Shweta. I know we are all family, we are all connected with NHRD, but still, thank you for being with us on our first show. Thank you, Nikita, Akhila, and Shivashri for putting all this together. Till we meet again, as I said earlier, our next live is on 10th of August. That's a fireside chat with Naga Siddharth, and many more programs coming up. Please log on to our website to get more details. Till then, take care, good day, and good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mush,
you.
and
Thank you.
everyone stay safe, stay happy.
Yes, thank you, folks. Bye bye. See you.
Bye bye.